Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, then maybe, just maybe, I could tempt you into clicking that little subscribe button down below. Guys, it really does go a long way to help me as I look to grow the channel throughout the coming year, and will help you to stay notified of all of my latest airsoft content. So, win-win? I think so. Anyway, let's get straight down to business, and today's rifle really is a firm favourite of mine. It's got a special place in my collection, and I fell in love with the platform via a TV show, as is quite often the case for us airsofters, whether it be a TV show or a movie. If there's a particularly nice rifle in there and we know there's an airsoft replica available, and quite often these things can find their way into our collection sooner or later. And in this instance, the TV show was SEAL Teams, where this particular platform is pretty much a series regular, appearing in almost every episode, I believe, in one guise or another. And that platform is the HK416. Now, this is the Tokyo Marui 416 Delta, which is a next-gen recoil system as well. And rather than faffing around telling you a lot about 416s, I think what we'll do today is just make our way through the gun right from the word go. And I can pick off certain elements of the gun as we go. So, as customary, let's start off up at the front, and as you can see, I've already installed a tracer to mine, so it goes without saying that there is a 14mm counterclockwise thread on these things. So any tracers, suppressors, even if you wanted a different flash hider, anything like that is an entirely viable option with these. Moving back along the rail, now as previously stated, this is the Delta version, so comes equipped with the Geisley rail, and in my humble opinion is the prettiest of the versions and variants out there. Other options include the DevGru, which comes with a sort of foregrip and extended barrel and what have you, but it's really going to be down to you guys as to what you prefer and what you like, because performance wise all of the Tokyo Marui 416s are going to be very, very similar in terms of performance and feel. So, like I say, this is the Geisley rail, comes equipped with a very smooth finish to it, very nice to sort of C-clamp and hold. Lots of M-lock real estate. In the box with the Tokyo Marui version, you do get additional rails you can attach at the 3, 6 and 9 positions. I've got to admit, I don't use these a lot. They're on here for display for this video purpose. But unless I'm running a specific setup with torches and pec boxes and what have you, these don't tend to live on my rifle. I much prefer the sort of naked rail look to this thing. As I say, I think this is a particularly pretty rail and very, very comfortable to use as well. So, but they are in the box and they're for your consideration, so they're here today. The rail also comes equipped with some QD sling points, which is nice, always handy. And of course we get the monolithic Picatinny section along the top of the 416 as well, for all of your optic attachments and necessities and needs and what have you. Right, let's move away from the rail a little bit. Down onto the receivers, and in terms of fire controls, we have a ambidextrous fire selectors. Now, before we move on, I'd like to talk about these fire selectors, because I don't know if I've just been unlucky or if this is a particular facet of these Tokyo Maruis or not. But both this 416 and my Tokyo Marui 417 suffer from these fire selectors being what I can only describe as a little bit gravelly. As you move between each selection, you feel like there's almost a resistance, like a gravelly, grindy resistance. It's not to say that it, you know, sort of misfunctions the fire selector in any way. They move smoothly enough, and there is a positive click into each selection. Like I say, it's just purely a little bit strange that both of mine have, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's just like it even sounds gravelly. Anyway, something for you guys to explore and just be aware of. Like I say, it doesn't alter functionality in any way, shape or form, just something to be aware of. In terms of the other controls, they are purely right-handed, as you'd expect really from a replica 416. So we have magazine release here and bolt release there. On terms of magazines, being a next-gen recoil system, it has like a mock bolt stop function. Sorry, I paused. A mock bolt stop function. So when the magazine runs out of ammunition or BBs, it essentially locks the bolt into position. Not that there is a bolt, but it stops the gun firing. And the way it does that is by the use of this little tab here. Now, that comes equipped on all Tokyo Marui mags. It also comes equipped on several aftermarket ones. These are PTS mags. If you don't have that on a magazine, the magazine will still lock into place, will still feed, but you will lose that bolt stop functionality. So again, something to be aware of. Depends what you want really. Whether you want to be able to continuously dry fire it is up to you. In terms of the recoil impulse, I really like the feel of this one. It's not quite as strong as you would find on something like the KWA Ronin, but nor is it as weak as something like the ASG Hera Arms. It's on that happy middle ground. And I really like that because you're still tuned into it. You're still dialed into it as you're using the gun. It's not something you can forget is happening, but it's not so strong as to become worrying in terms of, well, something like gun techs tell me a lot that things like bolts tend to shake themselves to pieces because the recoil impulse is so strong. Like I say, this is that happy middle ground. You're very sort of aware of it and stuff like this, so it really does add to that little sense of realism in terms of sort of a falsified recoil, if you like, and can put a smile on your face on a game day. So right, moving back even further, we come to the crane stock at the rear. Nothing overly flashy about these crane stocks, pretty much the same as you'd find on any replica rifle. They do, however, house the proprietary Tokyo Marui battery, which these guns use. Now, this is not an issue, this is not a problem. The batteries are very good that come from Tokyo Marui. They have a good long life to them, easy to charge up as the battery comes with a little adapter for your charger and what have you. My only issue arises in the cost. They are not cheap batteries by any stretch of the imagination, especially when compared to, you know, a LiPo or a NIM, whatever you prefer to use. So maybe it'll be something that you might want to consider changing at a later date. Whether to get a gun tech to change it, rewire the rear of the gun to utilize Dean's connectors, for example, would be a good upgrade. In terms of upgrades, it's something, again, it's going to be horses for courses, whatever you guys want to do. I wouldn't recommend going too crazy with these guns. They're very good performers out of the box, especially when you consider they're hampered by their FPS regulations. So these clock in at a mere 290 FPS, which is not great. I'm not going to lie. It's not the most powerful rifle you could ever hope for. It does become a limiting factor to some degree, especially because these are not going to hop any more than 0.25 BBs. So at longer range, despite this having a fantastic hop up as you'd expect from a Tokyo Marui, that Marui magic shines through in the right conditions and is capable of overcoming that deficit in FPS compared to other rifles. But where you're going to be limited is the fact that because you're using 0.25 gram BBs, the slightest bit of wind or negative situation in terms of weather, you're going to find yourself fighting the conditions. Fighting to have the same degree of accuracy as someone who, you know, maybe has another 40-50 feet per second on you and is capable of hopping 0.32s, whatever you want. That being said, what would I do in terms of upgrades? Well, mine is actually running completely standard at the minute. I don't particularly believe in upgrading a gun until something breaks. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I would certainly look at putting a Dean's connector in the rear, upgrading the battery, maybe even going for a good MOSFET. I believe Gate Titan do a MOSFET for the next gen recoil systems. Maybe a slightly tougher spring, add a few feet per second that way as well. And that's really all I would do. You know, this is a great performing gun for what it's sort of linchpinned to do, if you like. That hop up is fantastic, the barrel is good, everything you could want is there. It's just a tiny bit underpowered at the minute. That being said then, is it good value for money? Well, that's a difficult one, because it depends what you're looking for, I would say. If you're looking for a very, very realistic, very, very well built, a quality piece of kit that can add to that escapism, that's what I'll say. If you're looking for escapism, if you're looking to play on a game day with a fantastic recoil system, feel like you're using a real, or as close as we can manage in the airsoft community, a real HK416 that's not a gas blowback, for example, then this is most certainly value for money. It's one of the best pieces of kit you could ever hope for. If, however, you're looking for a fantastic performer out of the box, then no, this isn't value for money at all. There are much better options out there with much greater sort of firepower, if you like. Maybe they won't have that sort of fit and finish and feel that the Tokyo Marui offers. But in terms of performance and having that ability to reach out and touch people across the battlefield, they're going to be better, unfortunately. Maybe they'll miss the recoil system that this has. Maybe that's not important to you. Just don't know. But suffice to say, if you're looking for a very, very realistic, great performing, you know, something that can pull you out of your real life, if you like, something that dives you straight into the world of feeling like a Navy SEAL, then this is most certainly a fantastic option for you. If, however, you're looking for, you know, that potential one and done gun that's going to be everything you ever want it to be and you'll never need another rifle, sadly, I'd say perhaps look elsewhere. Okay, guys, that's been my look at the Tokyo Marui 416 Delta Next Gen Recoil. As always, if this has been of any help to you or just any interest at all, then a like and a subscribe is always welcome, guys. And I'll see you in the next one.